Hollywood has always been a place of dreams, drama, and dazzling stars. But behind the glitz and glamour, some of its most iconic figures have carried something even bigger than fame. A truth they had to fight to live out loud. Today on Rainbow Spotlight, we're diving into the journeys of 20 legendary gay celebrities who helped reshape what it means to be queer in the spotlight. From bold trailblazers of the past to Gen Z icons redefining masculinity and fame, these stars didn't just make headlines, they made history. Some came out late, some were always loud and proud, but all of them lit the path for millions. Ready to meet the legends? Let's go. Rainbow. Jonathan Bailey, from theater talent to global heartthrob. Then, before Bridgerton, Jonathan Bailey was a respected West End actor, known for stage chops, not steam. Off-screen, he kept quiet about his sexuality, fearing it could limit his career. Now, as Anthony Bridgerton, he captivated millions while proudly being an out gay man in one of Netflix's most-watched shows. Bailey didn't just play a romantic lead, he redefined what queer masculinity could look like on screen. Today, he uses his fame to advocate for queer visibility, showing that you can lead the show and still live your truth. Troye Sivan. From YouTube, kid to soft masculinity icon. Then, a teenage YouTube singer with dreamy eyes and a quiet charm, Troye Sivan built a fan base through covers and vlogs. In 2013, he came out in a heartfelt video, becoming one of the earliest Gen Z stars to do so publicly. Now, he's a pop prince, fashion muse, and queer icon. With music videos like Bloom and Rush, Troye turned vulnerability into artistry, embracing fluid fashion and emotional lyricism. His then was quiet courage. His now is fearless expression, shaping a generation's vision of queerness that's free, romantic, and unapologetically soft. Colton Haynes, from teen heartthrob to survivor of silence. Then known for roles in Teen Wolf and Arrow, Colton Haynes played the perfect all-American jock, but behind the scenes he struggled with intense pressure to stay closeted. His sexuality was a rumor he felt forced to hide. Now, after coming out in 2016, Colton opened up about the emotional toll of Hollywood's expectations, from anxiety to addiction. His memoir exposed painful truths about fame, shame, and healing. Now sober and centered, he's using his platform to support LGBTQ+ youth and normalize mental health conversations. His journey is one of pain, but also powerful, visible growth. Dan Levy, from comedy writer to cultural game changer. Then, Dan Levy started as a quiet figure in Canadian entertainment, best known for being Eugene Levy's son. When Schitt's Creek began, few expected it would become a global phenomenon. Now, Dan's portrayal of David Rose, pansexual, witty, stylish, redefined LGBTQ+ characters on TV. Behind the scenes, he crafted a world where queerness wasn't trauma, but joy. He's now an Emmy winner, fashion icon, and fierce advocate for queer storytelling. His then was under-the-radar creativity. His now is queer legacy in motion. Matt Bomer, from secret star to silver screen sensation. Then, as the impossibly suave Neil Caffrey in White Collar, Matt Bomer captured hearts worldwide. But at the peak of his fame, he kept his personal life private, fearful that being openly gay would cost him roles in Hollywood. Now, since coming out in 2012, Bomer has thrived, starring in The Normal Heart, Magic Mike, and Fellow Travelers. He's proved that leading men can be openly gay, elegant, and endlessly bankable. With grace and grit, Matt shattered the closet equals success myth. His career didn't stall, it soared. Lance Bass, from pop idol to queer pioneer. Then, as a member of NSYNC, Lance Bass was every teen girl's crush in the early 2000s. But fame came with a heavy secret. He was gay in an era where boy band stars were expected to live out straight fantasies. Now, Lance's 2006 coming out was groundbreaking, one of the first major pop stars to speak his truth. He's since become a vocal advocate for LGBTQ+ rights, surrogacy, and queer family building. From closeted pop icon to empowered gay dad and media personality, Lance showed what true courage sounds like on and off stage. Ben Platt, from Broadway darling to queer everyman. Then, he wowed audiences as Evan Hansen on Broadway, winning a Tony for his raw, emotional performance. But offstage, Ben Platt was still finding the confidence to own his queerness publicly. Now, with roles in The Politician, Theater Camp, and his music career, Platt has become a face of modern, sensitive masculinity. His songs about queer love feel fresh and universal, not niche. Ben isn't just a performer, he's a bridge between Broadway and Gen Z, showing that queerness can be central, complex, and deeply relatable. Luke Evans, from action star to queer leading man. Then, known for his rugged looks and action roles in Dracula Untold and The Hobbit, Luke Evans kept a low profile about his sexuality. He was out, but rarely talked about it in press. Now, that quiet confidence became his brand. Evans defies Hollywood's old playbook, playing romantic, heroic, and complex roles without hiding who he is. Whether gracing fashion covers or leading thrillers, he shows you can be openly gay and still be the epitome of masculine allure. No labels, no apologies, just presence and power. Neil Patrick Harris, from sitcom prodigy to queer dad icon. Then, in the 90s, Neil Patrick Harris was every TV fan's favorite boy genius in Doogie Howser, MD, a clean-cut teen star with a bright future. Now, decades later, he's become a beacon for LGBTQ+ families, openly gay, happily married to David Burtka, and raising twins with pride and style. From Emmy-winning roles to hosting the Oscars in a velvet tux, Neil has proven that queerness and family life aren't opposites. They're a modern dream. His journey redefined gay masculinity for a generation raised on TV, showing that authenticity only adds to the spotlight. Elliot Page, from indie darling to trans hero. Then, as Juno McGuff in the 2007 indie hit Juno, Elliot Page shot to fame with quirky charm and raw talent. But behind the camera, he was battling gender dysphoria and public pressure. Now, in 2020, Elliot came out as a trans man and changed the face of Hollywood overnight. From emotional Instagram posts to shirtless red carpet debuts, he's living boldly and inspiring countless others. With the Umbrella Academy, he became one of the most visible trans actors on a major streaming platform. His then and now isn't just personal, it's revolutionary for LGBTQ+ representation everywhere. Ricky Martin, from global sex symbol to proud Latin trailblazer. Then, in the late 90s, Ricky Martin was the embodiment of Latin heat, sexy, mysterious, and silent about his sexuality. The world saw a superstar, but behind closed doors, he was terrified of being himself. Now, after coming out in 2010, Ricky rewrote his narrative. Now a proud gay father of 4, he speaks openly about identity, self-acceptance, and breaking cultural taboos in the Latin community. From sold-out tours to UN advocacy, he's more powerful than ever, not because he hid, but because he stopped, his legacy, turning silence into celebration. Billy Porter, from Broadway talent to queer fashion warrior. Then Billy Porter made waves on Broadway with Kinky Boots, but for years he struggled to fit into Hollywood's straight, white, masculine mold. He was talented, but overlooked. Now, post-pose. Billy is a cultural juggernaut. His red carpet looks, gowns, wings, glitter aren't just fashion, they're political statements. He's now a vocal advocate for queer, Black, and HIV+ communities, reminding us that visibility can be radical. Billy's then was quiet excellence. His now is unapologetic brilliance. And he wears both like couture. Gus Kenworthy. From Olympic podiums to red carpets then, Gus Kenworthy made headlines as an Olympic skier, but stayed silent about his sexuality for years, fearing rejection in a hyper-masculine sport. When he finally came out in 2015, he wasn't just another athlete. He became the face of courage in action sports. Now, from guest starring in American Horror Story to appearing in high-fashion campaigns, Gus is now as much a cultural icon as he is a sports legend. His presence at the Met Gala, his work with LGBTQ+ youth, and his bold queerness proved that even snow-covered mountains couldn't bury his light. Cheyenne Jackson, Broadway's golden boy turned screen icon. Then, on Broadway, Cheyenne Jackson's voice could stop time. His performances in Xanadu and All Shook Up made him a star. But for a long time, he kept his personal life under wraps, navigating the theater world carefully. Now, with roles in American Horror Story, Glee, and Call Me Kat, Cheyenne is now a household name on TV. He's also a proud husband and dad, often sharing tender family moments online. His evolution from closeted theater star to beloved gay dad shows how fame and authenticity don't have to clash. They can harmonize beautifully. George Takei, a sci-fi legend who became a movement. Then, best known as Sulu on Star Trek, George Takei was a cultural icon long before he came out. Growing up in a time when being openly gay in Hollywood meant career suicide, Takei kept his truth hidden for decades. Now, since coming out in 2005, Takei has become one of the loudest and proudest voices in LGBTQ+ activism. His wit, wisdom, and fearless political commentary have turned him into an internet icon. At 87, he's a reminder that it's never too late to live proudly, and that true legends never fade, they evolve. Adam Lambert, from Idol finalist to glam rock royalty. Then, Adam Lambert stunned the world on American Idol with his explosive voice, dramatic flair, and unapologetically queer style. At the time, being openly gay on such a mainstream platform was revolutionary and risky. Now, Adam didn't just survive post-Idol, he soared. With chart-topping albums, world tours, and a career-defining role as Queen's frontman, he's become a glam rock legend. His style, his voice, and his boldness have inspired a new generation of queer performers to dream bigger, sing louder, and sparkle harder. Karamo Brown, from reality TV to emotional icon. Then, Karamo made his first TV appearance on MTV's The Real World in 2004, becoming the first openly gay black man in reality television. But his true impact came years later, with a much deeper message. Now, as the culture expert on Netflix's Queer Eye, Karamo redefined what it means to be emotionally intelligent, black, gay, and proud. Through heartfelt conversations and powerful vulnerability, he's become a symbol of healing, mental health, and black queer masculinity. From red carpets to therapy couches, Karamo proves that strength is emotional, not just physical. Scott Evans, from Chris Evans' brother to queer star in his own right. Then, for years, Scott Evans was known primarily as the charming younger brother of Marvel superstar Chris Evans. But Scott had a journey of his own, one that he built quietly, proudly, and with resilience. Now, with roles in One Life to Live, Grace and Frankie, and queer indie films, Scott has carved out his own niche as a proudly gay actor who isn't afraid to speak his truth. He's witty, warm, and refreshingly open about the joys and struggles of LGBTQ+ life in Hollywood. Wilson Cruz, a pioneer who walked so others could run. Then, In the 90s, Wilson Cruz made history as Ricky on My So-Called Life, becoming one of the first openly gay actors to play a gay teen on primetime TV. Back then, that kind of visibility was almost unheard of and dangerous. Now, decades later, Wilson is still going strong. With roles in Star Trek, Discovery, and countless advocacy efforts, he remains a tireless voice for LGBTQ+ representation. His journey proves that being first isn't easy, but it's essential. And thanks to him, countless queer actors now walk through doors he helped open. They started as rising stars, some closeted, some confused, some just surviving. But over time, they shattered the silence, broke the molds, and came back stronger, louder, and prouder than ever. From red carpets to Broadway stages, from Olympic podiums to global pop charts, these 20 gay icons didn't just entertain us. They taught us that being yourself is the bravest role you'll ever play. Their stories remind us that growth is messy, identity is powerful, and visibility still matters. Whether they whispered or roared, they changed lives just by being real. So here's to the misfits, the Trailblazers, the quiet rebels who became legends, not because they were perfect, but because they dared to be true. Droppy if you saw your younger self in any of them. And don't forget to subscribe to Rainbow Spotlight for more powerful LGBTQ+ stories that celebrate who we are, who we were, and who we're still becoming.